We are pilgrims. That is essentially what we are. We are only pilgrims. We are only passing through. And Brother Kelvin touched on the whole condition of the earth today. The fact that this earth is degrading in such a way that started since the beginning of time, since the slaying of Abel. We saw where the blood cried out on the earth, and the earth was cursed. And since then, it has only become worse. And we touch on the whole aspect of climate change, how it is being used by Satan to make it seem as if these things are happening because of climate change. But we understand where it all started. We understand where all these things are tending to. So Satan will bring up these events to make it seem as if, that the world needs to do something to help quell or alleviate the issues that is plaguing the world today. Now, we who are Bible students of prophecy and of the Bible, we understand the true issue, and that is the reason why we look at these events. Now, Brother Kelvin talk about again the fact that this world is not going to get better. We know this. It's not going to improve. Or we know the world today, it's only going to get worse. Matthew 24 says that all these are the beginning of sorrows. When we see these signs that Christ said to look for, these same signs that we are actually seeing in the world today. Now, when you really consider that things are not going to get better, this is where perspective comes in. Think of it this way. God's church is the only people who's supposed to be elated of the fact that things are not going to get better. Why I say that? As it is right now, there are souls who are seeking for things to get better. So they are hoping that the world will go back to normal, go back to how it was before the pandemic. They are seeking for peace and safety. They are looking to get back to the norm. The soul who is seeking for that is not looking for Christ to return. They are not seeing that these are the signs that Christ is to look for, so that we can prepare ourselves for Christ's return. So the fact that this world is becoming so troublesome for us to live in, that is a good thing for us. We are not supposed to get comfortable. We are not supposed to be contented with what is happening, because we are seeking for a new earth. We are just passing through. We are pilgrims. So once we could set that mindset in our hearts, once we could establish that in us, then the only thing we should be engaged in right now is preparing ourselves spiritually and physically, and also preparing the world for the crisis to come and for the soon returning Savior. So this should be our position. So, of course, we are dealing with current events. We are dealing with events that are happening at this time. This happened this week. I'm sure some of you would have come across this. This happened this week, a few days ago. The Guardian for International Peace and Security sits on the Visitors Plaza outside the United Nations headquarters. The Guardian is a fusion of Jaguar and Eagle, and it was donated by two designers from Mexico. So this was unveiled at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. Yeah. Now, this did not get mainstream media coverage. You would only see this via the independent platform, more so Christian-based platforms, because the moment they saw that image, it reminded them of what is written in Revelation and also in Daniel. Yeah? So looking at this image here, I'm not sure if you're seeing the symbolism. Does this remind you all of anything that you all see in the Bible, in the prophetic accounts? Anyone?
Of course, yes. The indiscreet beast.
Okay, yes, right. So that is one connection there. Let's look at the scriptures. Let's see what is happening here, and let's look at what is being said about this beast, this image here. Revelation 13:2 says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." So looking at this image here, we are seeing the body of this image. It's like a leopard. The Bible says that it would have a leopard-like image. Now they call it a jaguar. Now a jaguar and a leopard have spots. Yeah, they both have spots. And we understand the application of the leopard, which is the papacy. Yeah. So this account in Revelation 13 is speaking about the papacy. Right? This is the papacy here. So we are seeing an application here of the papacy. Now, what was this image? Where was this image unveiled? At the headquarters of the United Nations. Does the United Nations have a role to play in prophecy? Anyone?
Of course, and they're playing it nicely.
They're playing it very well. We saw application in Revelation 17 that we would say allude to them, yeah? And the 10 ones which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So what that might be Sunday law. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Now we see 10 in prophecy. 10 is a universal number. And this is talking about 10 kings, which would represent the kings of the earth. And we see where they will give the beast system their power and their strength. Brother Shepherd?
Yeah, Brother Cody. The beast, the scarlet colored beast 17 is not the same beast in chapter 13 now.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Right. So the beast in 13 is the papacy. The beast in 17 is the same United Nations.
Right.
Yeah, it's the United Nations, because remember the woman is riding the beast.
That's my point.
Good.
So
there is something, Brother Samson. What I would like you to do, I think I will let Brother Samson send you something that he did on the European Union. I don't know, you wasn't privy to that study, you all wasn't on, but that to show how far reaching the papacy is into the European Union. You will see the same thing you now show there, Brother Samson has that same picture. That certain parts of Europe where the European Union offices have that same type of creature.
Wow.
The same, when I say, but my God, this is the same thing. So what I'll do, I'll link it, or let you link with him, and he has some really relevant information to what you show me.
Amen.
Same type of creature, same type, same kind of design.
Yeah.
That the papacy is involved in the thing. I thought the papacy wasn't involved in the European Union, but I was so wrong. I was so wrong.
Right. So yeah. when you look at why the papacy is involved in these unions, right? That is how Satan is conglomerating the world to his allegiance. He used these conglomerates, he used this body of nations to really push his agenda. That is his force, that is his power, and that is why we see the application here in Revelation 17, which is in fact the United Nations. It's all, as a matter of fact, it's all the conglomerates put together. And that is why Brother Sheppy say, according to this, if you read in the text, high up in the text, we see the woman is riding the system, right? And it is riding the system because that is where she gets her power from, according to Revelation 17:13 here, right? Where it says she shall, that these have one mind, so they come together, they conglomerate, and they give their strength and their power to the same beast that is riding it. And that is why we're seeing, I'm glad for that input, Brother Sheppy. At these different locations, they are showing their allegiance to the papacy. They are showing who they give their allegiance to, basically. And that is what that figure there represents. Notice a comment that was made here also. The guardian for international peace and security. That is essentially what they are calling it, brethren. They are calling it peace, the guardian for international peace and security. Does that sound familiar? Have we seen that anywhere in the Bible?
Yes. When they say peace and safety, look out, eh?
Yeah. That's 1 Thessalonians 5:2 and 3. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Where is the destruction coming from, brethren?
The peace and safety.
Right, but if we look at verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Brethren, this is marking the time just before Christ make his appearance. Verse 3 says, when we start to hear them talk about peace and safety, when they start to talk about these things, when we are seeing these things prevalent, when we are seeing these things more and more being brought to the forefront, this is telling us that Christ is about to make his appearance. So that is the sudden destruction that is going to come upon this earth, brethren. Amen.
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 Prepare to meet thy God.